Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise today to offer an amendment to the FY16 Interior Appropriations Bill that will help strengthen transparency and oversight at the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA. My amendment simply provides $1 million in additional funding for the Office of Inspector General at the EPA. I thank Chairman Ken Calvert for working with me on this amendment. Under the current administration, the EPA has waged an all-out war on jobs in the beautiful 2nd District of West Virginia and on communities across America. With this backdrop, I think it is absolutely critical that we strengthen oversight and transparency at the EPA. Taxpayers deserve to know what's going on behind the curtain. The Office of the Inspector General plays a critical oversight role within the EPA. It is the independent office that works diligently to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. For example, a May 28, 2015 report found that 2 separate EPA employees were viewing pornography at work for up to 6 hours a day, and they were paid in the neighborhood of $120,000 a year while doing it. The same report found that Renee Page, who at the time was director of the EPA's Office of Administration, allegedly sold jewelry and weight loss pills out of her office, but she didn't stop there. With her abuses, she hired not 1, not 2, but 17 family members and friends for paid internships at the EPA. These are just 2 examples of the incredible abuses of public trust and of taxpayer dollars that occur at the EPA. Without rigorous oversight from the Inspector General, these abuses might never have been exposed. My amendment provides additional oversight funding without increasing the budgetary impact of the FY16 Interior Appropriations Bill. We pull the money from the Office of Public Affairs, which is the office responsible for promoting the administration's radical environmental agenda, and use it instead for oversight. I'd encourage my colleagues today to cast their vote in favor of my amendment. I'd like to thank the chairman. And gentlemen, I yield.
I'm happy to support this amendment, and appreciate your bringing it up, and encourage everyone to adopt it.
Thank you. I reserve.
Reserves. Does the gentleman yield back?
I'll yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is on the amendment offered by the gentleman from West Virginia. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, nay. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. For what purpose does the gentleman from West Virginia rise?
I have an amendment, number 11.
The clerk will report the amendment.
Mooney of West Virginia, page 62, line 8, after the dollar amount insert reduced by $2 million. Page 132, line 24, after the dollar amount insert increased by $2 million.
Pursuant to House Resolution 333, the gentleman from West Virginia and a member opposed, each will control.
Thank you. This amendment would strike $2 million in funding for the Office of the Environmental Protection Agency, Office of Policy, and transfer those funds to deficit reduction account. The Office of Policy is located within the EPA Office of the Administrator and is the primary policy arm for the agency, or what I've been calling the Regulatory Nerve Center. The funding for this office directly supports this administration's radical regulatory agenda that is putting an alarming number of my constituents out of work, and they're not shy about it. The head of the EPA's Office of Policy, Joel Bovis, on October 13, 2014, boasted to a group of New York University law students that his office, quote, coordinates the process through which all of the EPA's rules are developed, including the Clean Power Plan. While the so-called Clean Power Plan is projected to increase costs by as much as $479 billion over the next 15 years. For my constituents in the beautiful 2nd District of West Virginia, that means an average electricity price increase of 12%. This is something we cannot afford. Yesterday, the floor of this chamber passed the Ratepayer Protection Plan, which will stop the Clean Power Plan. But the Office of Policy is coordinating more than just the Clean Power Plan. The EPA issues about 150 new regulations each year, and this office is right at the center. Another rule that deserves attention is the EPA's proposed ozone standard. The National Association of Manufacturers found that this new regulation could reduce the United States GDP by 207 to 360 billion annually, leading to 2.9 million fewer jobs between now and 2040. It's clear that the EPA, under this administration, will continue to promote their radical environmentalist agenda through an enormous number of rules and regulations. We have to slow this process, and that's why I propose this amendment to cut the Office of Policy funding by $2 million. And so I'd encourage my colleagues today to cast their vote in favor of my amendment. I'd like to thank the chairman, and I reserve my balance of my time.